Good to go.
Good evening, welcome to 6:45. We'll go ahead and have a public hearing for the rezoning of two parcels, one being Gateway Fellowship from B1 to S to special use, and for the Stonewood housing development from R3 to SU. Let's go ahead and do the Gateway Fellowship first. Nate?
Yeah, Gateway Fellowship, Chris White is here representing them if you have direct questions for them. That'd be ordinance 2021-107 in the packet. It's 5.1 acre parcel, B1 to SU, as the mayor said, for a secondary, post-secondary adult educational, higher education center, training facility, entrepreneurial, vocational, etc. I believe the plan is to go in and revamp
Yes, sir.
the building and clean up the grounds and everything, and working with Ashland University as well as the Ashland West Holmes JVS.
Any questions?
Chris, do you want to say anything more?
I don't have anything more to say that's on there, but I'm happy to answer any questions that there might be present.
What's the timetable?
The transaction is first, so for Gateway to move this to the developer for the development of the educational facility, that'll be first. Then the redesign will probably take 6 to 9 months, and I'm in the midst of talking with JBS and college about how they might be utilizing the space jointly or separately, and then we'd be looking at how the rest of the space will be developed out from there. If you've been through it, it's going to take some work internally, but it's got a good structure and it's good for this kind of redesign.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's move on to the second rezoning request. To rezone, what's rezone?
3.98 acres, it's lots 10 through 18, block 15 is the last plan addition, as well as 10 through 18, block 16 is the last plan addition. So we got a copy of the proposed development plan there, protected engineering. The first phase, it's kind of hard to tell in black and white, but it's that, I guess, the north end of the property is what they're looking at doing. There was 19 units, 19 duplexes in that first phase. And this is, the ordinance, there's a typo. There's a typo on the ordinance, it's actually R3 to SU. I missed that one. Was get these put together, it's not B1, it's R3. It's a special use development, or special use district.
Okay, council have any questions?
How many plots are there
Currently,
versus what they're proposing to build?
many lots,
Yeah,
that'd be, this first phase would be 10 through 18 on both blocks. So it'd be 16. 18 lots, I'm sorry, 18 lots.
but actually what was platted originally? In the second phase or whatever,
The second phase, they've shown a proposed layout, but they're not set on that, the remainder of the property. This is just, this upper corner here is what they're looking at, for phase one.
yeah, but I mean, eventually they will build.
That's their goal,
Right.
yeah.
And how many are duplexes?
Of the first phase,
Yeah.
or
Well, all of them.
all of them? First phase is all duplexes. And they're showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 quads, and the rest are duplexes. That's okay. Yeah,
What, it's 4 units?
quad would be 4. Upper, lower, is what they've talked about, P and Z, upper, lower.
especially, I mean, Cary Street, right west of Florlo, I mean, you can get one car down there, that's absolutely it. And on Sill Street, two cars really can't get by or it's two-way traffic.
They are showing bringing new road surface out past Burgess's,
And
east of Burgess's, bringing the new surface on out, widening that on Sill.
crossing Florlo.
I would, yeah, I haven't got their construction plans, this is just the layout. I don't have to pull the utilities and everything at this point.
And I mean, the biggest issue, I think, everybody in that area is gonna be the traffic. There's gonna be, you know, a lot more kids. They're riding bikes on the street, there's no place for them to go.
I believe we have some residents that like to speak. Please state your name for the record.
Susan Davis, I'm on the corner of Cary Street, and I don't wanna see it. I mean, if there's single units being put down there, fine, but this multi-units, it's just gonna be so much traffic, it'll be ridiculous. We moved up to that area because it was a nice, quiet area of Millersburg. If I wanted to be in the big, busy zone, I would have found somewhere else to move, but, so I hate to see it get rezoned. Allow them to put that many units in.
Any other questions or comments from the residents?
From her.
Or anyone?
I got the same feeling. We moved down there because it was a nice peaceful neighborhood. We got kids riding in the street with bikes and it's, we're just gonna be unsafe for the kids in that neighborhood. It's not gonna be extra traffic going by our house all the time, and that's not exactly what I had planned for my retirement. And I have a hard time getting through this town now. I mean, it's a traffic jam every day. I think if you wanna do something, maybe we ought to reroute the traffic or something, do something that would help up on the traffic jams in this town. It has a lot to do with this, because it's gonna be more traffic downtown, building
Sir,
all those extra
Can you state
places.
your name for the record?
Jack Davis.
Thank you. Ma'am, do you have anything to add?
Yes, my name is Tiffany Johnson, and I live on Forler Street, the short end with the, I rent from Atlee Somers. And I've been there 14 years, and it's my favorite place I've lived. So quiet, peaceful, I don't have to worry about a lot of traffic. There is a lot of kids, and my kids grew up there. And it was, the nice part was, I didn't have to worry about someone, flying or a lot of traffic. And again, it's quiet. And if we bring more people in, not gonna have the safe roads or the quiet. And then, what would that maybe do to property values?
I honestly wouldn't, we don't do property assessment here that, I would assume the county auditor would be able to tell you, or give you some idea.
And that's just a curiosity, honestly. So since I was talking, I figured I'd ask. But yeah, I agree, just, wouldn't want a lot more traffic and then noise and, and you don't know what kind of people you're bringing in either. Crime could go up. It's pretty safe over there right now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when they came to planning and zoning and proposed this originally, for the type of rent range they're gonna be looking at, it's definitely gonna be higher end. I believe he was looking at minimum $1,000, $1,200 a month.
For some reason, I want to say around 1,200 a month is what I remember.
And they're gonna be higher end units,
So they're gonna be more like condominiums.
I would say so, yeah.
And I think that's how they referred to them, wasn't it? Didn't they call them condos when they came, as opposed to duplexes?
And their intent at this point, this doesn't address really what your concerns are, but just so everybody's aware, was they were gonna hold all this and have a property association, homeowners association that would, maintain the properties. They weren't gonna sell off individual units at this time. They would be responsible for the maintenance of the roads and snow removal,
this community needs is single starter homes. You know, it's hard, housing is very tough here. I just can't see a lot of people being able to afford that type of rent here.
But what I think you see in other places though is once housing like that comes in, people move to those, freeing up other units in the town. That can help alleviate the crunch kind of across all types of housing. People move there and leave other units that are empty.
What restrictions can planning and zoning place on infrastructure improvements to address those issues?
Virtually anything they want, well, within reason, I mean, but yeah, they can require road improvements for access, they can, you know, whatever they so desire can be required.
And that comes at the planning and zoning stage.
Yeah, they'll have to review the full, development plans, or construction plans, I'm sorry, I keep saying development, this is the development plan. The construction plans could be, those can be tweaked by the board, however they'd like them to be. Their intent was to have those at the August 4th planning and zoning meeting, but as of yet, I've not seen anything.
Are there pictures that we can give people that are here, better idea of what these places look like? I don't know if that would help or not, but it just gives you a better visual.
Give us a-
image.
Personally, to me, I don't care how expensive they are, it's gonna be more people and more traffic and more noise, no matter how expensive you make them. I mean, you're gonna find problem with rich people, you're gonna find problem with poor people, so I don't think price of or what they look like is the problem. The problem is traffic, and that doesn't even, what's it gonna do to the trail? You're gonna turn it into a city, you gotta drive through a city to be down on the trail? I go down on the trail just all the time. But it's like, I don't wanna be down there, there's gonna be people all over the place living right on the side of it, it doesn't,
There's not really much room between the hill and the trail. It's like when you go down there and you look, it looks like anybody starts building, it's just gonna be packed on top of each other down through there. But it just doesn't look like what Millersburg would be to me. It's a nice little small town. But I guess everybody grows. But
Nate, when you sent out the notices of this hearing, did you get any other feedback, either phone calls or?
Yeah, we got your letter, and then after the meeting date, I had 2 letters come in from, Jolly.
Mary Jolly,
Mary, and Mary's is it mom, or
I think her sister.
sister maybe, yeah. And with the same concerns, traffic concerns.
they're not gonna do anything to tie into Coke Street.
They've not shown anything on that, no.
It could be the traffic issues, the widening of the street or whatever could be part of the development plan. That would be a condition that they have to develop it according to the plan, or otherwise the special use designation doesn't, it reverts back.
I just, seeing so many duplexes, and if there's quads, how many cars alone is gonna add to back in there? I assume it's gonna be working people, and they're coming in and out all day.
I mean, I'm not a traffic engineer, but perhaps that could be addressed, that they present something to planning and zoning and make it part of the development plan. The problem with waiting and, approving the special use, and then they bring forth plans, you don't have as much leverage, the village doesn't have as much leverage. If you make it part of if you require that as part of the development plan, then they either do it or they lose the designation of special use.
No, I know logging, they've taken out over 300 trees, so they've got a big chunk of their money back already. And I also heard that he's already sold some lots off. So,
I know he sold some down at the south end to the owner of the trail site cabins. There was some lots down on that end that they didn't have interest in developing, so they sold it to them, to the owner of that. Where Bill Baker, Maddie built those cabins initially.
I mean, and another thing I'm worried about, has the fire chief saw the plans for this? I mean, to me, it's gonna be so condensed, how can a fire truck maneuver around in there? If need be.
Look, their street, we talked about this in planning and zoning, and their street widths aren't any less than anywhere else. Not anywhere else, but for private roads, they're wider than most of the private roads we have already. And the distances, if you look at the site plan, you know.
I mean, I believe, I think these streets are gonna be wider than south roads.
Yeah.
So I see, okay, on phase one, is that 20 units, basically, am I counting that right? So have you seen these plans? Have you, okay.
I mean, why would I wanna see them?
Because you live there.
I know, I mean, while I'm here, I don't want it.
I guess here was my question. Could you visualize some kind of an expansion, but maybe not to this level? That's what I was getting to. So there's
I really don't wanna
units in
see
the first-
anything down in there. I
Okay.
enjoy seeing the woods, I enjoy seeing the deer. I always see deer when I go down through there, that's gonna eliminate that. I mean,
Okay.
it comes a time when things don't make any sense, and this is one of them.
All right, we've gone over a lot of time, I don't mean to cut anyone off, but this is just public hearing, to get public input. We will have a first reading of this ordinance tonight. This ordinance will go 3 readings before council will vote to pass on. So we'll have the first reading tonight, second reading, second meeting in August, third and final reading, the last meeting in August. If council passes it or denies it, that will happen at that time. So what I encourage the residents, if anyone has any questions or wants to see these plans, please contact Nate. The village obviously will be able to supply anything anyone would like to know about this development. Yes, ma'am.
So sorry, may I add one more thing? Tiffany Johnson, and, a couple people kept saying about like widening the roads, but I mean, no matter how much you widen the roads, it's not gonna change the amount of traffic. That would not change, you know, the heavy flow, it would not. That's,
All right, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and close the public meeting for the rezoning of these 2 properties. Like I said, we'll have first reading tonight. There can be further discussion over the next 4 weeks. And please contact the office, Nate, with any questions or comments. So with that said, the public hearing is closed. We'll move on now to open council. We'll start with pledge of allegiance.
thank you.
Thank you for attending. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Fuller. Vaughn. Vaughn. Vaughn.
Here.
Schuler. Shoemaker.
Over here.
Hostetter.
Here.
Hoppy.
May we have a motion to excuse Kelly from tonight's meeting?
Second.
Fuller. Aye. Shoemaker.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Hostetter.
Aye.
Thank you. Do we have any visitors to list for address council? May we have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes?
I so move, Shoemaker.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Fuller. Aye. Con,
Aye.
Juan,
Aye.
Oscar.
Aye.
Additions or corrections?
I just wanted to bring one thing up. There was a reference about the ordinance about the billboards, and it says 1,500 square feet per residence. It's actually just 1,500 feet. There's two references to square feet, and the square should be there.
Any other corrections? Can I have a motion to pass?
So moved.
Second.
Oscar.
Aye.
Juan.
Aye.
Fuller. Aye. Shoemaker.
Aye.
Con.
Aye.
Thank you. Bill resolution 2021-21. Are there any questions on the bills this evening? May we have a motion to pay the bills?
Make a motion to pay the bills on.
Second.
Con.
Aye.
Juan.
Aye.
Oscar.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Fuller. Aye.
Thank you. Chief?
Yes, sir. So, as everybody knows, we've been looking for applicants, having 3 positions open, 2 in patrol and 1 dispatch. We actually have some applicants that I'm hoping that we can move forward with. For the full-time patrol position, Caleb Bethel, he works right now up in East Canton part-time. He has some experience with a couple of different part-time agencies up and around Stark County, Marlboro Township, and Washingtonville, I believe is what it is. Did his interviews, got his testing done, everything comes back, spoke with him. Seems to be, a pretty decent kid. So if I can get council's blessing, I would like to move forward with him, starting full-time patrol. His start date would be August 14th if you guys would grant that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Juan.
Aye.
Fuller. Aye. Con.
Aye.
Oscar.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Next is for our dispatch position. We had Ashley Phillips. She's a local girl from here. Applied, one of the few people that applied for the dispatch position. I didn't think that I would have her everything done for the meeting tonight, but over the weekend we finished things up. I spoke with her today, and I think she will work. She's a young lady that is definitely interested in law enforcement, which is a good thing. For the younger generation right now, everybody knows kind of what the demeanor is towards law enforcement, and I have somebody that's still in their teens speaking up and saying, hey, I would like to at least see what it's about, start my career and go from there, is a good thing. I think she'll be a good fit. She's not been around a whole lot of law enforcement experience, so it'll be a new game for her, but I think we can work through it. And so she would be a non-certified dispatch. She does, speaking with her, I have hopes of maybe going to the academy in the future, which is also a good thing because that would be, another person that I would look at be sending to the academy. So her start date is August 7th. She is tied up with some Antique Festival or the Antique Festival Queen issues, but there's nothing that we can't work around. So if I can get council's permission, I would like to hire her full-time as a non-certified dispatcher.
I know of her, and yeah, I would support it, so I make a motion to accept, yes.
I'll second.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Oscar.
Aye.
Fuller. I'd like to abstain, I vote absent. Con.
Aye.
Juan.
Aye.
And my third is we have an applicant that has not completed the academy, but he's completed the academy, but he's not taken his state test. I believe it's this week or maybe in the first week or two in August. I've not completed finished talking with him and have everything resolved with him. But if I can get council's permission before the next meeting to move forward, if everything would happen to work out, I do know he's interviewing at another agency tomorrow. I tried to get him in today to finish him up, but he was not available to come in today. So he would be a full-time patrol officer. Like I said, he's just finishing the academy. Some of the instructors from the academy have given him good reviews as far as his academy work. I believe he was second in the academy. The other agency that he's going to interview with, they did the civil service test. He's number 2 on that. So I'm not sure where that's going to fall, but I guess my thinking is if I can offer him a position, maybe we can snag him before the other agency does, and we'll fill our ranks with another person. So I don't know if council was interested in allowing me to do that. Obviously it would be pending his passing the state test also. But as far as getting him in here and starting him training and go from there, he lives in the Baltic area, so he's a relatively local person. And that's my next, I guess, proposal, if that's something council is interested in allowing me to do.
I'll make a motion to allow him to move forward.
I'll
He
second it.
goes well with the academy.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Con.
Aye.
Holm. Aye. Hostetter.
Aye.
And my third little bit is just kind of a keep you guys posted. I'm looking at sending Caleb Cox, who is our newest dispatcher, to the academy. It starts the end of August, so I'm hoping he's supposed to go do some pre-tests tomorrow, and then he has another grouping of pre-tests on Thursday, prior to even him being accepted into the academy. I'm moving forward this with looking at Captain Herman retiring in a year and a half, 2 years, and the fact that if the academy they'd be going to is Wayne County. I didn't know that they would be running one this year, but I found out last week they would be, and it's $1,500 to $2,000 cheaper to send him to Wayne County than what it is to Mansfield or down to the Career Center in Tuscarawas County, and obviously the drive time will be less. So that's something that I'm hoping to be able to get word on this week, and whether or not he'd be accepted, and then we'll get him on his way to getting his certification. And other than that, I don't have anything.
Thank you.
You.
The first thing I have, Mid-Ohio's still in town, they're gonna be here a while, working on sidewalks. They're up in the Fairview area right now, doing one there, they've got Monroe Street done, Clinton, all the curb work is done now, so they're gonna be focusing on the actual sidewalks now, so that's good. Basco, they talked at the end of the last week, and they thought it'd be in the end of this week. Called me today, and possibly Wednesday they'll be in, tomorrow or Wednesday. They've had a good break with the weather, so they got caught up, so they're hoping to be here, like I said, Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. One of their guys was actually on site checking everything out, and we're working through getting trucks in and out, and how that's all gonna go.
Speaking of that area, that dead tree, whose property is that?
I believe that is on, Rockstar's property.
You talked to him about possibly bringing it down.
Again,
I would appreciate that.
Okay.
We don't want to put all this money in this brand new tennis facility and have a tree come down on it. Not just that, but it's just a safety hazard, yeah.
right.
How long do they anticipate it taking to do the tennis?
The milling, I'm trying to remember, they sent me a schedule early on, I don't have it right in front of me. The milling is a couple days, and then they're gonna put a new base in, start a couple days on that, and then start paving. So I'd say a week and a half, 2 weeks to get the asphalt done, and then there's multiple layers of the epoxy sport surface, and then the coloration and striping, nets. All that stuff.
What's he going after all
It's
that?
about a month, yeah, after everything's done, they set the anchors for the nets, and there's a divider fence between the courts. There's a month and a half total schedule, yeah. It's good to get it rolling.
Yeah.
The next thing I have, septic receiving. Nate Skolmich and I got to looking at our septic receiving ordinance, and we hadn't updated it since 2013. So we decided, let's ask around to some of the local septic receiving facilities to see what they're charging. So you got a breakdown there of what our current rates are. We're at 5 cents for regular septic, which would be like a residential or commercial septic tank that you know, I'll clarify right now, this is not for in-town users. This is for outside waste that gets hauled into the village, to our sewer plant for treatment. Our users will not see an increase in their utility bills. This is strictly septic receiving. So we're currently charging 5 cents for commercial and residential septic, 6 cents per gallon for sludge. That comes from other sewer plants. 8 cents a gallon for grease traps. Lodi and Worcester do not accept grease, but Lodi's at 5 cents a gallon for septic. Worcester's at 8 cents. Canton is at, and then the reason this is a weird number is they charge by the thousand, so I just broke out their total cost by to the penny. It's a little under 11.5 cents per gallon for septic and sludge, and then a little under 24 cents a gallon for grease. Our proposal was 12 cents a gallon for septic, 13 for sludge, 14 for portable toilets, porta-johns, which is a new charge, and 28 cents a gallon for grease.
Can you explain
The portable toilet charge, the reason we did that is that waste is very labor intensive because of the amount of trash that you get in porta-johns from events. They're used as trash cans a lot. So we end up, you have to remove all that before it goes into the plant. So there's screens, and then you have to clean the screens and put it in bins and landfill it. So, yeah, not pleasant work. The reason, so I guess our thinking on the increases was looking at what other places are charging, the amount of labor that's involved in, and grease in particular is not a desirable thing for the sewer plant. It's just not, you have to remove it. It doesn't break down well. It's not a good seed for the biology at the plant. So that's why we want to charge more for that.
So Nate, I'm curious, you used Lodi and Worcester as pricing examples. How many other places around do septic receiving?
Lodi, Worcester, and Canton are the closest
Okay.
to us. Beyond that, as you go north, I know there's some up in the northern part of the state, and Mayor and I were talking about, it's either Newark or Zanesville, I want to say is another one. I'm not aware of, beyond that, I don't know
Okay.
who all accepts outside.
So we do serve a fairly wide area since there is nobody.
We do, and we get used a lot because of our rates.
Okay. So,
We get a lot of waste.
okay.
Any profit in it?
Not really. At our current rates, no, because if you look, what we bill out and what we pay agri sludge is pretty much a wash every year. We suspect a lot of our agri sludge work is because of the extra load we're taking on.
Way back whenever the sewage plant was improved, and the EPA really encouraged us to put that in because there was a need for it. Of course, they said that we'd make all kinds of money and pay for the new plant and all that, but that's the first I've heard that we're really not making money. I think we should try to make some money. I mean, that was the original purpose.
I guess that's our intent with getting our prices up, is if it's gonna be used, let's make it worth our while. Was there some grant offered or
There
something?
was,
There was
yeah.
some incentive to
We
do
got
this.
a really low interest rate, or maybe 0% or something. What?
To do this.
To do
add
the
this
septic
septic
receiving.
There was some incentive
Yeah,
from
there was.
EPA.
There was an incentive. I thought it was interest rate for some reason.
It was all included in the plan.
Right.
Yeah, but there was a kicker to do it, to add the septic receivers. We wouldn't have had to do that, but they sweetened the pot to include it. I don't
They
remember
gave
the
us some
amount.
incentive to put it in.
guess our thoughts on the rates, proposed rates, or what do you think?
Do you think we should continue to take the grease? That's an issue. Or alleviate it?
I think at that price point, we're okay with it. If we're charging more for it, yeah, then it makes it worthwhile, but at 8 cents a gallon, no.
Are we currently accepting portable toilet?
We do.
Okay.
And it's getting charged 5 cents a gallon.
I forget, isn't there something in the sewage legislation that says that we can refuse?
We can refuse loads at any time if we're having, issues with the plant, or, if we're having issues with the plant, a lot of times we won't leave the septic receiving into the plant. So if that fills up, we just tell everybody we're full, we aren't taking anything, so we can handle it. So yeah, we can refuse loads, we sample every load that comes in, so we can test it in-house, and then if something shows up there, we can send that out. They get charged for the testing if it's outside, and then we can also, it can tie into our sewer use ordinance for high strength. If there's certain high strength things that would show up, metals, for example, if we get metals are horrible to receive in the sewer plant, if we get a real hot load of metals, we could trace that back and charge them accordingly.
I think that's happened before, isn't it?
It didn't come through septic receiving, it was coming from Midtown, molybdenum.
Right.
Where would something like that come from?
Cooling systems or, heat exchangers, if they crack, molybdenum can leak out. Depending on the type of system, it can get into the sewer. Got a hot water system or something like that, it could. There's multiple sources, but that was, I don't know that we can 100% nail down where it came from, but that was a common, was heating cooling systems. That's quite a few years ago.
So they actually on the porta johns have to physically do it by hand to get the junk out?
Yeah, you gotta rake out the bar screens and.
Well,
Down
You
sometime.
know what, John?
I believe Mr. Shoemaker would like to see how this is done.
Hey, we had a tour of the sewage plant
Yeah.
But I think
a few years ago.
it's not like you need a tour of the subject receiving, or we all do.
You're retired now, Bob.
Yeah, that's even more reason not to.
Okay.
We have plenty of shovels and rakes.
14 cents a gallon is a bargain for that work.
Yeah.
Community service.
We need a motion to
Well,
increase?
no, I guess just, I need to know if you're okay with those numbers, then we'll have a resolution for ordinance drafted to change those rates. And I don't know if that's something, that just kinda hit me, in our regular rates, we have, every other year we increase water rate or sewer, just minimally. I don't know if that's something that build in an automatic increase after every 2 years or something to bump them up a penny at a time.
I mean, it would keep us from the situation where we haven't raised in 8 years.
Exactly. I honestly a little embarrassed to see that it was 2013, I didn't realize it had been that long. Time flies when you're having fun.
I'd be in favor of including that in the rate steps.
Do you think like a penny every other year is reasonable, or, to me, that kinda makes sense,
I would say so,
so you aren't going too far.
right?
I think we need to look at it every year.
Well, maybe that's, better,
I
just
think
keep
the
an eye on
increase
it.
sounds justifiable, so if you're okay with those numbers.
Do the increases and then every 5 years review the whole
See where we're at.
structure to see where we're at and compare it. It's almost 5 years in turn, maybe.
It's likely to happen. Okay. We'll get something together, presented two requests, one was 52 Quail Street, they had pipes freeze and break under the mobile home, it's repaired once, and then the second time it broke, they actually replaced the pipe, so 89,000 gallons of water was used, requesting a credit for $172.50. The second one is 34 South Clay, pipe broke in the basement, sump pump didn't work, so they had to pump the water out of the building so it did not go down the sewer. 131,000 gallons used for $265.20 credit.
Is that the bookstore building?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the credits.
Second.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Bowen, Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Con.
That's all I have for regular session.
I have a question. I had a resident call me on Worcester Road today, and they were told that the sidewalks would have been completed there by the end of June.
I sent them a letter, I sent everybody a letter that was in the, getting to your sidewalk, that the contractor would be coming in June. I don't know that I put a completion date on the letter.
No, he said this was a verbal or oral conversation.
Is it Gary?
Yeah,
Okay. I'll talk to him.
okay. He wanted me to bring it up tonight, so
Okay.
I have done so.
It's coming.
We're heading that way.
Supposed to be done by the end of June, according to him.
We'll get there.
Didn't say what year then, right?
That's true. Yeah. Good point.
Karen?
We got our rates for standard life insurance. There will be no increase for next year or in 2023.
Thank you. Oh,
Do you need to review it? Do you need a motion to review?
alright, moving on to legislation. We'll have second reading, ordinance 2021-105 by title only. An ordinance revising the sign ordinance regarding billboards. Are there any questions? First reading ordinance 2021-106 by title only. An ordinance amending zoning map, zone territory of the village of Millersburg. Any questions? First reading ordinance 2021-107 by title only. An ordinance amending zoning map, zone territory of the village of Millersburg. Are there any questions? Emergency resolution 2021-22 by title only. A resolution authorizing the creation of American Rescue Plan Act Fund, ARPA, to track related revenues and expenditures and declare an emergency. Are there any questions?
Are those our final numbers then?
As of now.
Okay.
May we have a motion to suspend the second, third reading?
I so move Shoemaker.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Bowen, Con,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
You have a motion passed.
So moved.
Second.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Con,
Aye.
Bowen.
Thank you. Any committee reports? Old business.
I think it was our last meeting at the auxiliary building, and I brought up about what Kimball is stating now, and what they want and what they don't want. And at that meeting out at the auxiliary building, you had mentioned that Worcester seemed more strict than here. But this letter that we received from Kimball seems like there's things that are recyclable that they don't want now.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure whether Worcester is more strict. I can tell you that whenever Worcester changed to Kimball a year or two ago, that all of a sudden there were a lot more restrictions than there were with, I forget, World
Waste management.
Resources or something.
Waste management.
Waste management. For instance, like pretty much for plastic bottles is just about the only plastic that you can put in recyclables, where before it was like any kind of plastic. And it just became very much more restrictive. And I can't even tell you what Norrisburg is with the restrictions.
Did you see any difference what was originally proposed?
Not really.
I mean,
I
in
guess
that letter, there was things, you know,
I
types
remember
of plastic they don't want.
it used to be one through seven plastics.
1 through 7, 1 through 8, something like that.
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me I remember sending it out, but I don't know exactly what was listed on
I
there.
just remember about the only thing they didn't want was plastic
Plastic
bags.
bags is a big
Yeah.
one, yeah, but that's always been.
Right, that's always been that way, that was one of the restrictions.
Wrapping paper,
Wrapping paper's a big one.
no styrofoam.
I really think it's probably universal in the recycling industry. I don't know that it's just a local issue. I know the county has really restricted on the collection sites around the county. I think it's probably just because of the market being what it is.
I just wanted to know if there was a difference from, you know, the original proposal and where we're at now.
Have to pull them both out and see what.
I would think if Kimball's starting to restrict, it's based on the market more than them
Well,
themselves.
I understand that's their problem, not ours.
What I'm saying is, if they don't want plastic 6, 7, and 8, then they're just not gonna take it.
I'll take a look at it, see any.
Any other old business?
Nate, a number of months ago, you had mentioned about a company that had offered to come in and do sidewalk leveling.
Yes,
What is the status of that? Has that happened?
I was waiting to get everything on our end done
Okay,
to see what I had left
okay,
before I did any of those.
Okay.
I've talked to him a few times, Shane, talked to him a few times on that.
very good, thank you.
Any other old business? New business? I have one comment I'd like to make before we go into executive session. I urge and encourage all residents, if you have a question or comments about anything that happens in the village, please take the time to contact your local officials or the office staff. These are your best resources to get the correct information in a timely manner. I understand social media is out there, and there's a lot of misinformation being put out there. And it doesn't help anyone when that happens. You will find all of our contact information on MillsburgOhio.com, which is the village website. So I encourage you to please contact an elected official or the administration of this village to get your answers. Thank you. Now, that being said, may we have a motion to go into executive session, consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public employee or official, and to consider the purchase or sale of public property in the public interest would be hurt by the premature disclosure of the information.
Motion, Con.
Second.
Con.
Aye.
Holm.
Aye.
Hostetter.
Aye.
Carvon. Shoemaker.
Aye.
Thank you and have a good evening.
Any action on executive that I would need to hang around for?
If there is, we can always call.
Okay.